for our interview with Gwen Stefani. She's our first-time guest here on the Pop Shop.
Someone who we wanted on the show for a very long time.
Exactly. So we're so excited to finally have her here, and our conversation is all about Christmas. Gwen just released a deluxe edition of her 2017 holiday album, You Make It Feel Like Christmas, and it includes 5 new songs in addition to the 12-track original project. Breaking from Christmas album tradition, she co-wrote 8 of her holiday songs. So we talked about what it's like to write specifically about Christmas and whether she feels kind of like a pressure of living up to these classic Christmas songs. It's like if you're going to do 8 original songs, they got to measure up to these ones that you know. Some of them have been around for more than a century.
That's
so like,
hard.
yeah. So she talked about that, and she talked about basically wanting to be like Mariah Carey and, you know, write that instant classic Christmas song. We also talked about how her new You Make It Feel Like Christmas video with boyfriend Blake Shelton was his Christmas gift to her, how she celebrated the holiday growing up, and how she makes it special for her kids now, and much more. So please enjoy our very Christmassy chat with Gwen Stefani. Hello to Gwen Stefani, and welcome to the Billboard Pop Shop podcast.
Hey, what are you doing?
Well, you are the guest on our very special Christmas edition of our show to celebrate the release of the deluxe edition of your You Make It Feel Like Christmas album. So I wanted to start by talking about the 5 new songs on the deluxe edition. Were those songs that were recorded last year during the making of the album, or were there some that that you newly made this year?
Well, no, we definitely did them this year, and I don't really know how it works, but I feel like with Christmas records, if you do good enough, they let you add on to your records. I don't know how many years they let you do that for, but I'm new at all this. You know, this is my first time doing a Christmas record. It was one of the funnest things I've ever done, honestly. It was like, just to be able to write a Christmas song was something that I like. It's like, as a writer, you dream of that, because if you can get one that lasts, then you're there forever, and it's just, you know, you're Mariah Carey. Like, you get to have that moment with everyone's, like, memories and their families and their holiday. Like, it's like you're part of their celebration and the backdrop of their lives. So honestly, songwriting is so magical, but to do Christmas songwriting was another level for me. But this time I got to do 2 originals, 2 more originals, and then the 3 covers. And so it was just a little bit easier in some ways, because it was like I already knew kind of the direction and the style and that we were doing the record in, and I already knew, like, okay, well, I definitely want to do a new song that's like a Christmas up-tempo, but like a children's song, you know what I mean, that has like a children's Christmas theme to it, which I didn't have. I did a lot of love songs on the last record, so that was a challenge but exciting, and that was Cheers for the Elves was the song that we ended up writing. And then we did this song called Secret Santa that was wasn't really my idea. It was Justin, he's somebody that I've been writing with for years, and I didn't have any ideas, so he was like, oh, what about a Secret Santa? Like, and that was cute, because we kind of did, it sort of reminds me of like a Santa Baby Lane, like kind of like in the sense of like a little sexy song, like a love song. But yeah, and then the covers were just, again, like trying to find more up-tempo Christmas songs, because I know on my record I already have kind of the mellow, you know, Silent Night, and I had the song called When I Was a Little Girl, and another song called Christmas Eve. So I just wanted to make sure that it had that, you know, upper tempo. So basically that's how it came about.
Yeah, like you were saying, you co-wrote 2 of the new songs on the deluxe edition, and of course 6 of the songs on the original project too. You know, it seems like a lot of Christmas albums are filled with covers, so it's cool to have this much new original holiday material. How do you approach writing a Christmas song? Does it feel like you have to measure it up against these like Christmas standards that have been around for, you know, decades or even like a century in some cases?
It's a really good question. I think it's one of those things nobody really thinks about who wrote the songs. Like, you're like, they were just always part of your life. Like, who wrote Jingle Bells? Like, who wrote Silent Night? Like, you know, 12 Days of Christmas, like all these songs that are just there your whole life, and you think someone had to think that up. And it's quite magical, because songwriting without having a theme, you know, of Christmas is magic anyways, because it's just like you have nothing, and then all of a sudden you have a song, and it's, especially if it really does reflect your life, it's just so, like, it just takes a moment in time, and it just, like, keeps it there forever, and people can relate to it, and then it heals you, and there's just so much that goes on with songwriting for me. So to be able to do Christmas music and to write within a theme, like every song was different. Like for me, there was one song called Christmas Eve that I had written last year, and I'd been going through so much in my life, and I'd written this record called This Is What the Truth Feels Like, and I was out on a run at Blake's Ranch, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to get my physical exercise, and I'm going to, like, pray the entire time, and I'm going to be, like, in this moment and just get my spiritual exercise on, too, and his ranch is so gorgeous in Oklahoma. There's, like, animals, like, wild animals, like, herds. It's beautiful. Anyways, I was, like, praying, and I thought to myself, if I wrote a Christmas song, what could it be? You know, just like you're asking me, like, how do you do it? You know, and it just came to me, this whole song, like, literally the melody, the lyrics, and everything was right there, and I'm, like, singing it out loud, running back to the lodge, trying to get my phone so I don't forget it, and just, like, sang it into my phone, and then, like, asked everybody around me if I was copying something else, because it sounded so familiar. I was like, this sounds like something I'd heard my whole life, and anyways, it was just one of those Christmas miracles, and brought it back and finished the song, and crazier thing happened. Then Blake heard it and liked it so much that he ended up recording his version of that song for his Christmas record re-release last year. So, and no one's ever recorded one of my songs, so that was like, especially like my best friend who I respect so much as a musician. So that was just one example of writing a Christmas song for me, which was a good example. But all the other ones come in just different ways, you know. They just come like going in the room and being inspired and thinking about what the other songs say, you know, like what is it about Santa Claus is coming to town? Like what is, you know, it's just fun. I don't know. I feel like I could have never done it until now. Like I feel like I needed all the writing experience that I've had to get to this point.
Well, and I feel like, you know, you also kind of realize in your album that you don't need to have every single song have like all this really serious Christmas imagery in it. Some songs just feel like Christmas, and your song When I Was a Little Girl kind of just, it brings you back to childhood, and there's like a reference to Santa, but it could be, you know, set in any time of year. It just feels like a good, you know, Christmas time song.
That is you're very smart. I agree with you, because in the sense that, like, when I wrote that song, I had this idea. I can remember, because a lot of the songs are really just about love, and I can remember laying in my bed and being in my bedroom when I was little and dreaming about who I was going to marry and who was going to love me, who was I going to love. You know, I have these incredible parents that were so loving my whole life, and just really wanted that, you know, and you think about that when you're little and you're a little girl. So I wanted to write a song that kind of like was just expressing those feelings, you know what I'm saying? So when we started writing that song, I think we all thought, maybe this isn't a Christmas song, maybe this is just a song, and we should leave it at that. And then, I don't know, Justin, I think, was the one that kind of pushed us to go, no, I think it has that nostalgic feeling to it. I think we can make this a Christmas song. And so just adding in a few lines here and there, and then it ended up being like the theme, or like the kind of thread throughout the Christmas special that I did last year, of like kind of revisiting my old self, and, you know, how Christmas is such a miracle. And like I said earlier, like just being part of Christmas through music is quite magical, because you're really creating like memories in people's lives. And growing up, I listened to this record that my parents used to play called Light of the Stable, which was Emmylou Harris's Christmas record, and it was mostly original songs, if I think about it. It's hard to know now because I just know the record as a record, but it's just when I hear that, it's like it brings all those memories back, and they're such good memories of my childhood and Christmas time. And so I don't know, I never really thought I would do a Christmas record, in the sense that it's when, like, how do you do it? When do you have time? And you're always trying to make your own regular records. I am. So this was just the perfect year to do it last year, and to be able to, like, I can't believe it's already 1 year later and I'm doing more. Like, it went so fast, but it's really, really up my alley. It's really perfect. I didn't know it was going to be so fun to be able to promote the record like last year. It just brought so much joy. I got to go to London and be on the radio over there, and just around the world, just to be able to like, I don't know, have a theme like Christmas this far into my career, and people just, it brings so much joy out of people.
Yeah, it's universal too.
Yeah. What's that?
It's universal too, just like that.
Yeah,
you know.
It pretty awesome.
I was also, you mentioned listening to Emmylou Harris, and I was wondering kind of what Christmas was like for you growing up. We know that you're from SoCal, so maybe a white Christmas was not always something that you had. But what was Christmas morning like in the Stefani house?
Well, there was 4 kids, so my parents were happily married, and they made a big deal about it, and it was a big day. It was like wake up at 5 a.m., sit in the hallway with my brothers and sisters, just like trying to wait for my parents to wake up and like trying to peek out and see. But you couldn't ever see where the tree was and the presents were because Santa would have come and like wrapped the doorway with like wrapping paper.
Oh, wow.
I know. That was like our tradition. Like they'd be like, on the count of 3, you'd bust through the paper.
Oh, my God, that's so fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we did everything from, we did like the spiritual side of Christmas where we would go to church, and my mom would take us to the fabric store, and we would pick out patterns, and she would make us a Christmas dress, and we would go to church, and then we would go to one great-grandma, and then we would go to grandma, and then we would go to the other grandma, and then we would go then we'd go back home and take a nap. And it was like, why do we have to take a nap? Because we'd go back and have the turkey at my grandma's. And it was just I remember as a child it being like an epic, like long day. And my parents were really strict about we had to go to this grandma and that grandma, and each time you would go, you would get more presents and more chocolate, more stockings. I was very blessed.
Well, and what's it like as a mom now, kind of, either passing those traditions on to your kids or, creating new traditions with them?
Yeah, I think it's fun to be able to create new traditions, and it's interesting how, like, my kids have such an unbelievably different life than I did growing up, and I feel like every year is just a ticking clock where you're like trying to hold on and make it magical because it just goes by so quickly. And now I have like a 12-year-old who doesn't really like have a good list. There's no more toys to buy. Like it's just like tech stuff or like wants like Gucci or things that are just impossible, You're like, no, you're not getting the new whatever 12 phone or whatever's coming out next. Anyways, it's like it's really hard to let go of like the fun like baby years where Christmas is just like it's so magical. I still have a 4-year-old, so he's gonna have fun this year. And we're just gonna do Christmas decorations tonight. Actually, we went on the way home from school and picked out a tree, and it's getting delivered, and we're gonna decorate, and so it's just fun. It's just memories, creating memories.
And you mentioned Emmylou Harris. Are there any other Christmas songs or albums that are really, special to you, or ones that you play with your family?
I think I just really remember watching like a lot of Christmas specials when I was younger. Like, when like it would be like the Peanuts Christmas is coming on, and all the songs from like the Peanuts Christmas, or I'm trying to think of different ones, but one of the huge records that we used to listen to would be the Chipmunks Christmas. Do you remember
yeah, of course.
With Alvin and the Chipmunks, that was a big one. And a lot of those were original songs as well. You don't even think about it because it's a cartoon, but someone had to write those.
Yeah.
So good, too. We just had fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a fun time of year, and I know that it can be super stressful too. Like I feel it as well. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't gotten anything for Blake. Like, oh no, what am I going to get him? He has everything. But I know he gave me something, my present already, which was to do a video for the You Make It Feel Like Christmas song, which was such a gift because he hates doing videos, and he's like literally for his own videos he'll be like, you got 2 hours and I'm out of here. Like he just literally, it's not his thing. So for him to be able to put the time in for a whole day and do that video with me was just a dream. So I feel real excited about how it turned out, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it must be fun this time around, too, having a year behind you. Are you hearing from your fans about how they incorporated your album last year into their Christmas?
I'm just starting to see everybody get excited again because I had done the Disney performance last couple weeks ago, and people have been posting, and then once they start getting a taste of it, they're like, oh yeah, last year, like, and then they start reposting stuff from last year, and the record obviously is out already too, so I think for me the big one this year that was exciting was the release of the video. That was like unexpected because the song came out last year, and so the fact that my record label was like, hey, we want you to do a video, which is just, it's rare these days, you know. There's no budgets for anything, so it's like, oh, really? Like, you're going to let us do that? Like, that's so exciting. And one of my best friends, Sophie Muller, who's a video director, she's done, like, tons of my videos. She did Underneath It All and Don't Speak, and I could go on and on. She's a legend, and probably my best friend as well. She's English, and she flew herself out on her air miles to come do the video for us for free. And so it was just being able to work with her. She's like my best friend, and be with Blake, and to come up with an idea that we could actually like do, you know. And it was just really a fun project.
It really was. It was a Christmas present from Blake and Sophie. That's fun.
It's true. It's so true.
Well, amazing. I don't want to keep you much longer, but I am wondering, like I said earlier, you're from SoCal. Have you ever had a white Christmas before?
Let me think about that.
With all your
no,
travels?
I mean, basically, I've never had a white Christmas because I'm trying to think. I mean, I've been in England when it's kind of cold, but not necessarily snowing. But this year we're going to go to, I think in the new year at some point we're going to go to Gatlinburg and go to Dollywood, and we're hoping there'll be some snow out there. But yeah, we just, you know, growing up in California, it's fun because you can go up to Big Bear. That's where we used to go when we were kids, and we would go to Santa's Village, which is super fun. We went there like a couple of years ago, and they've redone it. It's like really beautiful. They did such a good job. I would highly recommend going up there.
You can go visit the snow and then come back to paradise.
Yes, but I love the snow, and that's why we always try to get to the snow somewhere. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Like all the times that I've ever been in the snow is just by traveling. Like, you know, being in New York, being lucky enough to go to places that it snows.
Well, thank you so much, Gwen. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas with your whole family, and we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Let's play